Hi, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're just about to get started with this next panel. I'm here with Valerie Frankel, and we are going to be learning about the heroine's journey. You know all about the classic hero's journey. Now learn about the heroines.
That about covers it, yeah. I have written, 12 books, 15 books, something like that on the heroine's journey, along with many other books, all available at vefrankel.com, and I'll be chatting about this afterwards. And as I was looking at all of world mythology, I was starting to see a pattern. I actually got into this because I was trying to write the next Harry Potter, which I still haven't, but I was charting out how every world myth told the story, going back to the oldest stories we have on record. I mean, going back to Gilgamesh and pre-Gilgamesh and the most ancient myths we've found, I saw an awful lot of patterns. And honestly, I usually get to look at the PowerPoint while I'm doing this. I've done this talk at many conventions.
Just got it up. I got to build out your scene, so we will
Fair
be there
enough.
in just a minute.
Fair enough. I could go anyway.
While we're waiting to get started, I'm sure you're going to get more into it in your actual panel, but is it just Lord of the Rings jewelry or Lord of the Rings inspired jewelry? Can you talk a little bit more about what you're wearing? I'm personally curious.
Yes, saw that coming. Yes, I bought this crown. I buy crowns every year from these lovely people who, yes, make Lord of the Rings circlets, but they've got so many unique flavors, and they've started doing, Snow White and the Huntsman. They had a Captain Marvel crown, so many pretty things. I think they're legendary circlets on Etsy. So many circlets, so little time. And I only have the one head, so I have to pick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's I have a wall of wigs in my house, so I know how that goes. But no, it's really pretty. I'm a really big Lord of the Rings fan, and I didn't recognize that particular design. I was going to feel really bad if it was something I was supposed to know.
No, I am not Galadriel's second cousin who gave Aragorn the one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Somebody else might be up with all that trivia, but it's a lot. It's a lot for me to know.
Also, usually during the talk, I take questions during, not just after. So I don't know if you're going to end up getting questions, but you're welcome to stop me with questions.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I can take questions during. Yeah, you guys, if you have any questions during our conversation, keep them coming on YouTube, Twitch. I see all of them. So I will definitely be fielding questions throughout the stream if anything comes up that you want to know more about.
Should be good to go now.
Cool. Well, there are so many Heroine's Journey movies and TV shows and so forth that have been coming out. I just got to say, I can't see the PowerPoint. Am I supposed to, or would this not be a thing?
You won't see it in Teams. You can see it if you go to www.ConFromHome.com on the live stream.
Right. Well, if this doesn't bother anything, I will just flip through it on my own screen then.
That's fine. I'll try and take your directives, and I'll try to follow along.
Great. Well, here we are on screen one, I guess, with Coraline, Wonder Woman, the new Star Warses. I was very impressed by Frozen and Frozen 2 as they made these stories that really did hit all the buttons of the heroine's journey. Next slide, please. So here we have Campbell's chart. Basically, to put it simply, the hero is sitting at home having a rotten life with foster parents who don't understand him. And then this mysterious bearded wizard knocks on the door and says, "Hello, my name is Gandalf / Dumbledore / Obi-Wan, and I have an epic quest for you. Take your father's sword and come with me." And the hero does and goes on many adventures and eventually finds himself in the darkest place of all, fighting the tyrant who says, "Actually, we're not so different, young hero. You don't realize this, but I am your father. I am who you could have been. I am your former best friend. And the hero realizes this dark side really is part of himself. And by accepting this lesson, he comes back, grown to adulthood, and can teach the next generation. As you can see in the other half of the chart, the heroine's journey is doing the same thing, but some of the steps are flipped or radically different. The heroine sometimes has most of her quest inside the house as she's dealing with horrible relatives in more of a Cinderella-style adventure. Her adversary is not the tyrant trying to destroy the world. Her adversary is the killer of children, the Wicked Witch, Jadis, who freezes the world in winter, or the Wicked Witch of the West, so dried up that water will melt her. But she still goes on the same journey to the underworld and returns as the new adult. Next slide, please. So here we have the quest as a circle going down into the underworld and then returning. This whole presentation, the PowerPoint is on SlideShare, by the way, if anyone would like it. Next slide. So here we are in the world of Common Day, and up top we've got the YA novel Matched, where she's stuck in a bubble. And she's actually pretty cool being in the bubble. Being in the bubble is normal for her. She doesn't realize that there's a world outside it, and she is in the spring green of innocence and newness. Opposite her, we've got Martha Washington from some amazing 90s comics, who again is just getting by, doing her thing. Buffy's going to school, trying to ignore the fact that vampires exist, and so forth. Something is going to have to change. Next slide. So there has to be some kind of a catalyst. Cinderella gets a ball invitation and realizes she wants to leave. Katniss, chosen for the Hunger Games and is ripped away from her home, rather like Persephone, who's ripped away from her home, and they're both carried off to the tyrant's realm. YA novels, the girl has been doing her thing for probably exactly 16 years, and then something happens, and off we go. Next slide, please. Hopefully this says Call to Adventure at the top, and I'm synced up.
We are on track.
Thank you. All right. So here we've got some ancient mythology. Well, in the middle, we've got Eliza and the Six Swans, an Andersen fairy tale, where she decides, I need to go find the 6 brothers who were taken from me years ago. I can feel them out there somewhere, and they need me to rescue them. Bye. That's really one of the most classic heroine's journey stories we get. Her going on a quest to save and reunite her lost family members. This is a metaphor for becoming the super mom, the protector of the family, the savior of loved ones. Some people say that the oldest Persephone legends, that's her with the apple there, actually went back to a time before she was kidnapped by Hades and she chose to go to the underworld. Which brings me to the third figure, the little stone lady, who is Inanna or Ishtar. In this really, really ancient Sumerian and Babylonian myth, she, who is basically Aphrodite in personality, decides, I want to go be queen of the underworld. I've had it with this partying, life-filled world. I want to see what else is out there. And she descends into the underworld. And she goes through 7 layers of hell, and through each, she discards part of her amazing queenly garb and gets down to the land of the underworld, where she's going to face Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld, and also her sister. Next slide. Of course, the heroine, just like in all the heroes' adventures, says, no, I can't possibly do this. This is scary. Surely you want somebody else. This is going to be tough, and has trouble leaving. There's often a threshold guardian, rather like in Wizard of Oz, the trees that are throwing apples, or some minor villain who's meant to scare the heroine off. Next slide. Sometimes in all the fairy tales, you see the goddess or princess so refusing to go on the journey that she falls into a deep sleep. We see Sleeping Beauty and Rapunzel, and sometimes these are stories of the prince coming to get them, But if you look at the metaphor, you often see her surrounded by so many thorns or so much armor that nobody can break in there until she's ready. This is a metaphor for her saying, no, I'm not ready for adulthood. I'm not there yet. I need some time to get used to all this. And while I'm doing it, everybody stay out. Brunhilde has a ring of fire, and it's hard to see in the small illustration, but she's armored from head to toe, again, as a way of saying, get out of here. Next slide. So the hero is, as I said, trying to get rid of the tyrant. We've got Aragorn versus Sauron. We've got King Arthur versus Mordred. We've got Luke Skywalker going, of course I hate the Emperor. Everybody hates the Emperor. Everybody knows Voldemort is evil. Somebody's got to take him out. That's what we're doing. Next slide. The heroine is questing to save and reunite her family as the archetypal savior. Up top, we've got Demeter and Persephone, who have this amazing epic quest in Homer's Ode to Demeter. Below them, we've got Isis and Osiris. Osiris is cut up into 7 pieces and scattered throughout the world, and Isis, the devoted wife, goes out to recollect them all. We've got Mary cradling Jesus. And on the far side, we've got Durga. Now, that is a great story. Durga, all the Indian gods are afraid of this massive army of demons, and they're so freaked out they can't handle it. So they all take all of their energy, all their fear, all their anger, and just push it outwards, and it solidifies into this gorgeous, gleaming, golden goddess. And they each hand her a weapon, and she goes out on the demon field and absolutely kicks butt. Even as some of the demons are proposing marriage, she continues kicking butt and wins the day. Next slide, please. So, of course, we've got the ancient legends and we've got the updates. And so here we are, Wrinkle in time, she's trying to save her father, then her brother. Coraline, she's trying to rescue her parents from the other world. Labyrinth, she's on a quest to rescue her baby brother because she said, I wish the goblins would take you away forever. And they did. Oops. Mortal Instruments, she's questing to save her mother through part of it. I specifically picked the Narnia cover where we've got the girls sheltering Aslan, and then they bring the reinforcements and save their family. The Last Unicorn is questing for all the other unicorns who have vanished. We Free Men is another one where her little brother has been carried off to fairyland and she's got to go get him back. So over and over, we're seeing the same story pattern. I don't know, I'm a third to half the way through the slides. Any questions popping up?
I'll just comment on, I've definitely noticed a similar thing myself, and that also kind of bothers me in some fiction. I feel like it can be a lazy shortcut. Just, the girl's little brother will sometimes have no characterization at all, and that's just a way, well, obviously women have this maternal instinct, and they're going to do this. So it's interesting to compare all the different ways it happens in fiction.
It's a fair point, and I've certainly seen the hero's and heroine's journey done badly. Oh, let's take the Hollywood template and dump it in there.
Right. Yeah. I see way too much of it done badly that it's almost become sort of a trigger for me to see that happen. I just go, ugh, it's going to be the same crap again. But actually, all of these examples are things that I really love. So it's nice to kind of visit them positively and kind of think of the ways that those tropes are done well.
Yeah, it's a fair point. We can all think of bad fiction and we can all think of good fiction. I'm also not trying to make this a prescriptive panel of this is how to write the story. It's pretty much, again, for thousands of years, people were telling this story. They were telling stories about, having your own child taken by the fairies is too scary, so having your little brother taken is a degree of separation that makes this a little less creepy for the listeners. People were telling the story of, yes, okay, we're marrying you off to a stranger, but if you're patient, you'll see his good qualities. That's Beauty and the Beast, which every culture in the world has. You get again, the same patterns. And you also get the girl going on the hero's journey. That tends to be like Eowyn when she says, okay, I'm going to dress in armor, male weapon, male mentor, and I am going to go take down the tyrant. Screw this.
That's my favorite. Yeah, that's usually the one that I'm like, yeah, anarchy. But
Mulan. I
yeah.
mean, there are so many of this. Alana, the lioness.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's just really universal. Every culture can really relate to a lot of these story beats, and I think that's why, yeah, you're right. We see them over and over.
yep. Well, more slides if no questions. There we go. So we absolutely have. Oh, next slide says sword, male talisman at the top. Did I? Okay. Yay. So here we've got some of these warrior women taking the male talisman. Mulan, Atlanta, Athena with her big spear and her massive armor. You do not ask Athena out on a date. Just Greek mythology. No, no. You do not ask Artemis on a date. Athena is 100% not interested. Artemis will tear you to pieces with your own hunting dogs. Yeah. Eowyn in the middle. Of course, we've got many superheroes who are using the more masculine weapons, masculine mentors training them. We've got Captain Marvel with her full Air Force uniform saying, yes, I am a competent soldier. That's who I am. Buffy had a famous sword scene in season 2. And yes, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, I wasn't sure when they were putting so much effort on, you have to take the sword. Your destiny is to take the sword. I was sitting there kind of rolling my eyes going, you're forcing Wonder Woman to have a sword. This doesn't sound right. And then at the climax, not huge spoilers, but when we find out she is the real weapon, she is supposed to be doing this, not this one little popsicle stick is the entire important thing here. Really made that story pop. Next slide, please. Heroines throughout mythology and then the updates are more often seen with a different cast of weapons. We see a lot of distance weapons, bows, Wonder Woman's lasso, Artemis has a bow, Katniss has a bow, Buffy has a large variety of things, often a crossbow, but we also see stakes. Catwoman's whip, Storm with her lightning, Xena's chakram. I think I wrote a piece after Force Awakens saying Rey needs a light chakram instead of a lightsaber that's coming from the male tradition. So it goes. Next slide. And we see a lot of other devices too. A massive, massive list, in fact. As the hero gets the magic sword, take your father's lightsaber and come on this epic quest, we get so many things for the heroine. We get the golden compass. We get the amber spyglass. We get ruby slippers. The Mockingjay pin. Lots of magic books. Lots of magic totems. Yes, there's a fairy tale tradition where we get the magic dresses, invisibility cloaks, masks, things like that. Lots of disguises. Lots of information. Lots of crystal balls and magic mirrors, as well as books. Lots of perception. Lots of Meg Murray, these glasses will tell you the way the world is really looks. Coraline, if you look through this rock with a hole in it, you'll see the real world. Because that's one of the things the young women are struggling against. Illusions, deceptions, being told this is the way the world works, and they need to see the reality. Mortal Instruments, or Shadow Hunters, she's got drawing magic. So you see lots of different kinds of magic and lots of different talismans, so different from just you're going to war and you're going to stab things. Next slide. So she has to cross over into the magic world. Up top, we've got Persephone again being dragged on the magic world quest, but we've also got so many heroines choosing to step over. And I love the scene from Divergent. There she is standing there in gray as everyone else is in black and red going, oh, so you want to join the black and red team? You want to join the courage people? Okay, well, all you've got to do is step off the edge of the roof. Show us you're really courageous. Please don't try this at home. So off she goes. Next slide. As we can see, I've got lots of YA lit, lots of recent movies, lots of fairy tales, lots of superheroes. It's all the same story. So she's got her best buddies, same in the hero's journey, and they represent the missing parts of the personality. The best example I've ever seen is Wizard of Oz with, this one is my brains, this one is my heart, and this one is my courage. And off we go on the quest. And if you look carefully, they keep saying they don't have those things, but actually the Scarecrow is always giving the smart advice and so forth. So that's always the pattern. They're always the missing parts of the personality, the impulsiveness, the caution, the wisdom, etc. And the hero or heroine learns from the team. Next slide. The classic romance for the hero or the heroine is the shapeshifter. For the hero, it's usually a swan maiden, a mysterious fairy who's sweet and young and beautiful, but then later he finds out she's got a dark side. She's Melusine. If you burst into her bathroom without knocking, you find out she's half snake and is going to eat you. The heroine gets, as I said, more of a Beauty and the Beast pattern, where he looks scary on the outside, but then it turns out he's a big softie once you get to know him. Next slide. So around the world, he's a tiger, he's a monkey, he's a lizard, he's a frog, any of the above, tiger, bear. Next slide. And then we update it, and of course, here are all the stories we're familiar with. We've got Twilight, we've got Alice in Wonderland, we've got Labyrinth, we've got Beauty and the Beast, we've got Buffy, 10th Kingdom, where the boyfriend is a wolf. 10th Kingdom I definitely recommend as a more modern take on the fairy tales. Basically, they put the nasty side back in Grimm's. Next slide. Yes. So, one big lesson the heroine learns that we see less from the male story is that the father is not this super hero. He is not going to be able to save her. She actually has all the power now. Oh my God, Captain Marvel, as she faces down the intelligence, she faces down Ronan and he caves, she faces down her mentor. She's taking down the whole system. Captain Marvel was such fun. And I just saw Birds of Prey, which was also such fun. But here we have Lucy watching over Aslan. Sorry, he's dead. You're going to have to save yourselves now. And once again, the best example I can think of is Wizard of Oz, where, oh my gosh, the great and powerful Oz is this humbug behind a curtain. Oops. Dorothy is going to have to get herself back to Oz now. Next slide. So, having learned all these lessons and hung out with all these great friends, off she goes into the dark side. Off she goes into the realm of death itself. Sometimes, I can see I've got Electra there, the heroine literally dies and then comes back to life. We get this from so many heroes, so many superheroes. I mean, this is a staple of every comic out there ever. I just watched Dark Phoenix, our third take, I think, on that storyline from just the Marvel movies. Yeah. There's Buffy with her crossbow again. Off she goes, walking into the underworld. Harry Potter 7, he goes down into the graveyard, the darkness, the underworld 7 times. And all the other books at the climax, he's fighting something nasty in the darkest place of all, the underworld, and he's pretty much always alone. So off he goes. Next slide. One thing I noticed is the hero goes into the unconscious, the underworld, the forest, which ends up being the feminine sphere, the realm of the unconscious, as opposed to the everyday world where the masculine rules apply, the hierarchy, and so forth. The heroine sometimes goes into the realm of death, and sometimes she goes into the prince's castle, somewhere where she really has no control and she's completely at his whims. Katniss, of course, goes to the Capitol and then the Hunger Games, which is this patriarchal playground where they're sitting there going, let's just throw some hellhounds at her. Zoop. Yeah. I see I've got Rogue One there where she's going into the, not just the constructed Death Star, but also a planet where she has no control. Behind that is Force Awakens, same deal. The Wicked Witch's Tower has some of the same aspects because it's this very patriarchal, unnatural place. Next slide. And there, of course, in this darkest place of all, just like Luke and Vader, the heroine faces the shadow. Sometimes this is a force of total destruction. I've got Rose and a Dalek there. I've got Rey facing down Kylo Ren. And sometimes it is evil mom. I see I've got Hope there from Xena's evil daughter. Sometimes you're facing the dark side of yourself. She-Hulk often has to face off with Jennifer as they sit there and go, well, these are two sides of the same personality and we're going to have to get along somehow. Next slide. And so there she is facing sometimes the evil tyrant and sometimes facing, as in Frozen 2, what she's forgotten, what she's lost, the magic that's part of herself. And as with Luke and Vader, sometimes this is a meeting of enemies, and sometimes she's going, oh, if I incorporate this side of my personality, if I take this on, if I accept that this is part of me, I can claim my powers back and become a fully formed individual, which is what this is all a metaphor for. Next slide. So here we've got the villains of the story. So if the heroine is the savior of people in danger, the protector of life, life incarnate as usually the young woman who's growing and changing and learning, by contrast, we've got the killer of children. We've got the Medea figure like La Llorona from Mexico. The Condenado from South America is a similar figure that eats children. We've got vampires. We've got, again, human-eating monsters from around the world. We've got Baba Yaga, who, if you're really respectful to, she'll help you, but otherwise you go in the stew pot. All these mother and evil grandmother figures. Next slide. And once again, we've got the modern update. In the middle is Madame Morrible from Wicked, because Wicked is actually, the musical, is actually a pretty standard heroine's journey as she's on a quest to save the animals, and the evil matriarch is pushing down on her, and her shadow through the whole thing is Glinda, with whom she's got the Harry and Draco frenemies relationship. You also see this, of course, with She-Ra and Catra. If you've been watching that cartoon, I just wrote a book on She-Ra and the heroine's journey. Off we go. Bottom middle, we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The heroine discovers that her evil mother has been killing people to stay alive and so forth. And again, our young heroine has to fight this and decide what kind of a leader she wants to become. Next slide. Another villain you sometimes see on the heroine's journey, because of course sometimes they're still fighting the tyrant, same as the hero is the destroyer of all life as the super patriarchy, and that's again when we really need Captain Marvel to come squish them all. Also works with Wonder Woman, also works with Birds of Prey. I've got Snoke, who Rey is battling, although I guess that's a little dated now because then she goes on to the most recent movie. We've got President Snow. If you're having fun with metaphors, Snow is the killer of all the plants, and Katniss has a plant name, and all her friends have plant names, so there she is fighting for life against the force of snow. I wrote a very long thing on who is Coriolanus, but let's just say he's a total tyrannical jerk from Shakespeare who didn't even get a good monologue in his entire play. He's such an awful character. Next slide. So the hero and the heroine both get what they've been questing for this whole time, and so the heroine frequently does get to save her loved ones. Okay. On the bottom, we've got Reach, the third book in the Bubble trilogy, where on the cover she is finally bursting out of her bubble in the red of maturity. In the middle, we've got Éowyn saving Theoden, which was her quest. And then over there, we've got, I believe that's Tristan and Isolde from the art, but I've also seen that referencing the story of Tam Lin, which is a great fairy tale and ballad where there is Janet snatching her lover off of the Fairy Queen's horse to save him as she stands there pregnant and trying to claim her boyfriend back from the Fairy Queen, who is absolutely not letting go. So whether she's questing for boyfriend or little baby or PETA or just to revolutionize the system, she gets what she's quested for. Next slide. Ideally, she incorporates this understanding of death, this understanding of the dark side into herself. A really good example I saw from this was Alice in Wonderland 2010, the Tim Burton one. And in that, she goes over to the Red Queen's castle to save the Mad Hatter, okay. But there she is she's wearing the Red Queen's dress. She's flirting with the Red Queen's boyfriend. And there she is saying to herself, I've never tried being a Red Queen before. Apparently, my destiny is to become this great, powerful matriarch like the scary mother-in-law she was talking to at the beginning of the movie. Apparently, I need to learn how to rule a household, how to boss around servants. I'm going to try walking around as this dark side of myself. I'm going to try this on and see how it fits and understand more about it, and afterwards, she becomes a more powerful figure. Hermione in Book 7 actually is disguised as Bellatrix, going around being nasty to people as she's, again, experiencing what life is like being the dark, scary matriarch. So that's a really interesting bit of the story you get in so many of these adaptations. And once again, we've got so many heroines who discover the dark side of themselves, integrate it, and become more powerful, from Wonder Woman to Elsa, understanding that this has always been a side of them. Elsa in Frozen 1 spends the movie realizing that her destructive snow powers can be used to make the world a better place, and people don't have to hate and fear her because she has the big scary magic. Twilight, yeah, it's a softer heroine's journey, but by book 4, she really is going through the steps as she discovers that her superpower is being a shield that she can use to protect the family, including her daughter, and this shield is just as powerful as the patriarch's aggressive weapons once she learns how to wield it. So by the end of the movie, we've got all these women going, wow, when I actually use my dark strength, this works. I can actually use this to become a more powerful person. I don't know if any questions have popped up at this point.
We've had a few comments, mostly just people chiming in and saying, oh, I love Buffy. Somebody said Buffy, Willow's their favorite character, Dark Willow, which, I don't know, I'm super partial to Spike, but that's a pretty good one too.
Oh, yes. Dark Willow is absolutely claiming the powerful evil magic in season 6. And then by season 7, she's learned to incorporate the same magic in a benevolent way. And in the final episode, you see her going, I don't know, if I claim the magic, it could turn me evil and this could be bad. And then she finally does. And she finds out that this is the magic they need to all save everybody, which they couldn't have done without her. So this is, again, incorporating the dark energies and realizing that people need these strengths to be adult.
Buffy, I feel like, was a great show to really show that type of character. There were a lot of really amazing female characters really early in television in Buffy.
Yeah. One thing Buffy does great is saying, if you're the gentle stay-at-home and make animal pancakes type, we want you on the team. If you're the hands-off magic type, we want you on the team. If you're more interested in managing a shop and making snarky comments, we want you on the team. If you have no superpowers at all and are just 15, but you can pick up a weapon and swing it at people, we want you on the team.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic message, especially for, a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, I was just really impressed by how many people have mentioned that it's a circle of equals. Giles isn't really in charge. Buffy isn't really in charge. They really do take a team meeting and decide as a group what they're going to do and switch off as different people have different powers. And it celebrates so many people who just plain old aren't warriors, including Xander the Goofball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they also disagree all the time, which can lead to hilarious hijinks really easily, which are always good. Some of those episodes are my favorite, or the filler comedy episodes.
And yeah, Spike's hot.
And Spike's super hot, yeah.
What you gonna do?
Again, if anyone has any questions for Valerie Frankel, please chime in. We are taking questions YouTube, Discord, Mixer. I can see them all. So if anybody wants to hear more about any topic, we are live.
Cool. I can't see any, but I'll trust you.
Yeah, no, we just got some comments. Somebody had chimed in earlier when you were talking about Wonder Woman and said that the guy that made Wonder Woman, I guess the comics creator, invented the lie detector test, and that's why he went with the lasso.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's so crazy.
I've read a lot about Wonder Woman and written 2 books on, the creation and so forth. He is such a kooky character, and yes, there are some very famous books about what a kooky character he is, and also a recent documentary movie. Wonder Woman was based half on his wife, who was a feminist professor of ancient mythology and stuff like that, and half on his mistress, who had dark hair, blue eyes, and big clunky bracelets. And at the time, early feminism was asking the question of, well, if the women go to work, who watches the kids? Well, the 3 of them all moved in together. The mistress watched the kids, 2 families. After he died, they still all lived together. They made this work.
Wow. So like a functioning, really early, cool little polygamous family unit. That's super progressive. That's kind of really interesting now to think about Wonder Woman as a character and where that came from.
And then there's all the S&M stuff. If you read the early comics, everybody is tying up everybody. Everybody appreciates being tied up. Everybody is saying things like, yes, calm my evil energies by tying me up.
I feel the need to interrupt real quick and just remind everybody that this is the 13 age-rated stream, and that's coming from our lawyers. We've already run into that.
We are speaking specifically, of course, about combat techniques in the Wonder Woman comic series and nothing else.
Of course. So that's how she vanquished lots of bad guys. Good for her. And there are some fascinating books and movies on this topic. I mean, about the creation of Wonder Woman and where this all came from. Tee-hee. He got a lot of his personality in there. And another thing he was trying to do was he thought women were better leaders, and basically the comics were meant to show how to create a peaceful world with Wonder Woman in charge. One of the early comics, she becomes president in the future, and so forth. So we see this guideline of a peaceful world being created.
I'm into it. Yeah. That sounds really awesome. And you said you wrote a couple books about Wonder Woman. Where can we get your books?
Everything's on Amazon. About half of it's on Smashwords if you prefer an indie seller. I can actually autograph ebooks on authorgraph.com. Ha ha ha. This is a thing. There's an app.
That's awesome. Perfect for ConFromHome, too.
So yeah, vefrankel.com has the big list, or Valerie Estelle Frankel on, again, anywhere. Amazon, Smashwords. A lot of my libraries have the ebook catalog, which is awesome. And libraries' ebook collections are still open.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have been renting books to my Kindle, which I learned how to do with all this going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a researcher. I keep talking about all these books I write. For something like reading that Wonder Woman book, I get every Wonder Woman book in existence. And then the next week, I want every Star Wars book in existence. Yeah. So it goes.
Yeah. So it goes.
Well, I actually have even a few more slides, like 5, so I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Definitely keep going. And again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in and we will take your questions live.
Most popular question tends to be, have you watched this series? And sometimes the answer is, no, sorry, haven't watched all of them. I try. So next slide. Ascension. So she gets to the top of the pyramid. She becomes the great queen, goddess, ruler, married happily ever after, Hollywood, any of the above, and the story ends. But sometimes when the story keeps going, you actually see Medea, having vanquished the monsters and married Jason and lived happily ever after, becoming the tyrant and heading toward being the Red Queen or Jadis or whatever the Dark Lord is that the heroine is going to have to defeat. Actually, the Buffy Season 8 comics see her morality start to slide as she's now Queen of the Slayers and is going, well, we need this stuff more than other people do. Maybe we should just take it. And so the circle keeps going round and round as, again, Princess Medea becomes evil Medea the sorceress. Just so many stories cut off before that point. You also see this for the guy. One of the few series that actually shows the whole progression is, of course, Star Wars, where we see cute little Anakin, who's the hero of Phantom Menace, slide until by Revenge of the Sith he's evil, and then we see him come back from that and ascend to be a spirit guardian all the way in Return of the Jedi. Next slide. So again, we've got the heroine becoming Kali the Destroyer, but the other side of Kali the Destroyer is the one who clears the path for new life to be created and the life cycle to just keep going and going. Next slide. As I said, the circle just keeps going round and round from becoming the sweet little princess to the evil destroyer to the grandmother figure who's mostly retired. Medea, in the stories that keep going, you actually see her become evil stepmother and then retire and be a priestess at the temples and then become the spirit guardian or fairy godmother for the next group. Next slide. Here we've got the whole journey from beginning to end like we saw at the beginning. And next slide. And here is a gratuitous ad for a whole bunch of my books. Oh, right, I've got heroinesjourney.net too. Haha. Yeah. Chosen One is a free ebook on Smashwords with a chapter on the heroine's journey from all these really popular teen series. I've got a chapter from Frozen, a chapter on Hunger Games, and a chapter on Twilight, Star Wars, so forth. So that might be one I'd recommend. Although if you want to buy some, that's good too.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, super cool. I see there's also Buffy books, so I might have to go check out some Buffy and some Wonder Woman books. I think I learned a lot already.
Yeah, Buffy and the Heroine's Journey gets a lot of attention at all the conventions and so forth. From Girl to Goddess is World Mythology and the Heroine's Journey, and that's actually the first one I published. Then I was talking to the publisher and suggesting all this wacky, obscure goddess stuff, and they said, actually, we really do a lot of TV, and they pointed to a shelf of Buffy books, and I said, I could write a Buffy book? I was just watching all the Buffy while I was writing all this serious mythology stuff. Sure, let's do this. And off I went.
That's awesome. How many years have you been an author? How long have you been writing?
From Girl to Goddess was 2010, and now I'm the author of 77 books.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Wow. Stephen King over here.
Yes, this is pretty recent and pretty piling it all on. Here during the, stay home time, I am just pounding out even more books because this is my normal state of being. I stay home and write books except when I have to go out and teach people. And at the moment, I'm staying home and teaching people, so off I go.
Same. Yep. Yeah, my life has changed very little, actually, from how it was before. But yeah, no, that's great. I feel like everybody needs to have something that they're concentrating on while we're all stuck at home to keep from going crazy. But 77, I can't believe it, over 10 years. That's amazing.
Really amazing is watching me pack a suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband won't let me buy any more books, hence the Kindle. Like, our shelves are terrible.
Oh, yes. I cleaned out the libraries before they closed, but pretty soon I'll be going to my shelf books.
This is the voice of God coming in. Mm-hmm. I wanted to add in. Oh, I know. Talking about deities, but not a feminine one. I just put a QR code on the screen. It is not available right now, but you had mentioned that you were going to be available after your panel, Valerie, in your Google chat. Mm-hmm. So if anybody wants to go and talk to you directly, they can follow that. Once you open it up, it should allow them in. So you can transition immediately there, and I'll leave it up for the rest of the talk. But just wanted to add that in. Sorry for interrupting, Danger.
Yes, thank you. I forgot that, yes, I'm doing a signing after this on Google Hangouts. More new technology, but so it goes.
Awesome.
I'm in Silicon Valley. We can handle it.
Super cool. Having other people in the chat saying similar things. I don't know how to pronounce this username, so I'm not even going to try. But somebody from Twitch says, that's like me. I've got 154 graphic novels tree that'll keep me going through staying home. A lot of people have similar ideas, I think, across chat. And then lots of compliments. Asia Prime, loved the channel. Thank you. Citric Dom Lauren, thought it was a great stream. So it seems like everybody's just really appreciated it.
Well, thank you, everybody. Maybe I should then go over to the chat thing and let the dealer's room and everybody's cosplay and so forth have it for a few minutes.
I've also noticed that for the ones that I opened up, even if they weren't live, if you add comments in that room, it'll still go to whoever started it. So even if she's not available in the room, if you're watching the recordings of these or anything like that, you should still be able to reach her that way, at least if she doesn't block you or turn it off.
Okay. I'm also, all over social media. Just search up my name. You can track me down on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you'd like to track me down, sure.
Awesome. Sounds like that is a super valuable resource if anybody has any more questions for Valerie Frankel, the author of 77 books.